Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in. Winning cures everything. It is Friday, September the 11th. I'm Gary.
I'm Chris.
And man, all right. So first off, it has been 19 years ago that the planes hit the towers and all that stuff. You remember exactly where you were, don't you?
Yes, sir.
I don't know that there's.
I was at Ouachita Baptist University.
I don't know that
getting
there's
ready
anybody
for my
that does
first class.
I was at Northwest Community College, and we were. Well, I wasn't there yet. When the first plane hit, I remember I was at my parents' house, and I was getting ready to drive down to school for a newspaper meeting because I was the editor of the Ranger Rocket, is what the newspaper down there was called. And I remember us going in, and, I mean, the story was basically already written. Like, we didn't have anything to really discuss. It was just, what in the world is happening? How do we even write about this? I mean, it was epic. I remember everything about that day. Coming back home, going to pick up like CDs at Best Buy, because I used to do that regularly, and like it just everything about that day was so weird, weird.
It is strange that you remember everything. I didn't talk to a lot of people. A lot of people left campus.
Yep.
And I distinctly remember where I was when I spoke to people.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could tell you what we talked about.
That's the thing.
But
I don't remember.
But I remember every conversation and every setting. I remember I was sitting here. My friend Chris McGlone was sitting over here. Like we were in like where Ouachita does their it was called chapel, but it wasn't at the chapel. It was like a big giant auditorium where the theater department works and does shows. It was just like I remember all of it.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is strange. I remember where I parked at school that day, where I parked at Best Buy that day. I remember sitting at home and watching the news. Everything about it, and that's the only
funny how memory works.
Yeah, it's the only thing that, like, the only day that I can really say that for, where I can think about the entire day. Like, I remember dinner. I remember everything about it. And
I remember my roommate was a complete dick that morning, just a complete dick, and all I wanted to do was throw his ass out the window.
The circumstances?
This was all before all this happened.
Oh, okay.
No, we both had 8 o'clock classes, and so we were up and getting showered, and he was just an asshole all the time anyway. I mean, he was the worst roommate I ever had. The only friend I had on campus when I went down to school there, the only person I knew on campus when I went down to school there, and it was the worst decision I ever made. Every friend I made from there outside of him, best people I've ever known.
Other than the guy that you already knew.
Other than the one guy I already knew, complete prick.
There you go. Terry jumps in on Facebook, by the way. I haven't gone through any of this spiel yet, but winningcureseverything.com is the website. You can go check it out. Obviously, we're kind of reminiscing a little bit because this is a pretty important day in American history. Terry jumps in. He said, was at home asleep, got off work at 7 a.m., told my brother to shut up with that BS because I didn't believe him until I got up and went to the living room. He said, what was crazy, I don't even think we went into work that night. Yeah, I remember a lot of places shut down, man. Like, because this country had no idea what was happening. I mean, it was just really strange. I think Walmart actually shut down early just to get an idea of what was going on. But if you guys want to jump in on the chat, by the way, you can do that. We're on Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. You can be a part of the show. Go ahead and dive in. It's the chat box is down in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Any of those platforms will populate right there, so you can be part of the conversation no matter what you're on or what you're watching on. We would love for you to join in. But, yeah, that was strange circumstances. I remember, college football was canceled for one weekend, and all the games were pushed to the end of the season. I remember Alabama Southern Miss was pushed after the Iron Bowl, and everything about that was weird. Florida Tennessee was pushed until the end of the season. I mean, it was just everything was crazy that year. Like it was
the games that I remember more than anything were the Yankee game afterwards where President Bush threw out the first pitch.
Yeah.
That was a pretty incredible moment. See, this is the thing. I think, and we get into politics a little bit here, but I think we've gone past the point of no return. I don't know that we'll ever be able to come together as a country again then, like we did then. I don't know what it would take to bring us to our knees to where we would come back together like that, because it doesn't matter who the president is going forward. If that individual steps out of a dugout in that situation, half the people there are going to hate him, no matter the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
it's really, I think that's sad. And a little bit of that speaks to the parties of putting up people that are so polarizing. But it also speaks to us as people that we're willing to let our political philosophies overcome our human nature of kind of connection and loving one another.
Yeah, I will say this, I blame a lot of this on social media. Now, social media has its perks. Obviously, it's given us, what little voice we have in the sporting universe. But, a lot of it is we get involved.
Personal responsibility. That's on us.
Yeah,
man.
Agreed.
It's on us to not hate somebody just because they have an R or a D next to their name.
Agreed.
And realize it's okay. Listen, we can hate each other tomorrow, but today let's put all that aside and let's just love one another.
I
just want something like that to happen, to give us just a 24-hour moratorium of, it doesn't matter how this thing goes. I just want one day a month, if we could have something without destroying the world, to where we could all say, hey, on this date, on the 17th of every month, we're just going to not talk politics and we're going to love people for who they are, no matter what. No matter what.
Terry jumped in. He said, preach the truth, Chris. Can't we all disagree and still get along? Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be absolutely nice. He also said, I remember Sosa's first game back, hit a home run, rounded the bases with an American flag.
I remember
before the game, didn't he run out with like an American flag through the outfield?
He ran out on the field with one, and then he pulled it out of his back pocket. I think he had it on him when he hit the homer.
I think it was like the first base coach that gave it to him or something like that.
Oh, that might have been it. It could have been something of that nature, but I remember he rounded the bases with it. Yeah,
sure enough. I mean, it's some of these things just kind of stick in your head, man.
This is why sports matter. People say sports don't matter. Man, this is why they matter, though.
Oh, 100%.
I know this is an insignificant game. I get that.
Sports used to be unified.
When we say it's an escape and people say, oh, well, you shouldn't have an escape, we need to really address these things. Yes, we got a lot of problems that we got to address, but this is something that actually can bring us together. It really can.
I agree 100%. I don't have a ton of time today, so we're going to go on and dive into some topics and whatnot. But yeah, I wanted to hit on some of that because it's such a big day, and we try and do this every year. But
sure,
I mean, it's still worth talking about. It's just we try not to forget these things, right? And some of us will never forget it, but I mean, good gracious, my daughter was not even alive at that time. She has no idea what it was like, and it just blows my mind. Blows my mind to think that there's almost an entire generation of people that have come into this world that have no idea what it was like at that point. So. Let's go ahead and dive into some topics for today. First one up, a little hometown news. We have a Memphis football COVID outbreak, and it was broken.
We do.
What's the disaster here is that the news was actually broken by reporters in Houston. Like, the fact that it wasn't figured out here in town is kind of a disgrace a little bit. And it's not on the reporters. It's on the school for not releasing this information. Right? I'm a little irritated about that.
My question is that on the reporters, though, for not digging, for not kicking the cans, for not looking under stuff, for being too close to the team to where they don't go digging?
No, I don't say that. No. Here's the thing, because we jump on people for reporting things too quickly without getting the information correct. Right?
Yes, right. I want the information right, but sometimes that means you got to probe and you got to dig.
Agreed. I think because sometimes they were not able to get the answers that they wanted from maybe inside the football program, maybe that's why they didn't report it initially. That's why, Houston reported it, because the first reports out of Houston were, hey, kind of hearing some things, Memphis has got some problems, the game next Friday may not happen, right? And then finally, Evan Barnes over at the Commercial Appeal, a few other guys got word of what exactly was going on. And to go on and give you an idea here, after the Memphis-Arkansas State football game, obviously it was Labor Day weekend, right? So everybody, for the most part in the past and throughout history has kind of enjoyed that weekend as a party weekend. The weather's nice. It's still warm outside. Everybody kind of parties. Apparently, there were like 20 or 30-something players that decided to board a party bus from the Memphis football team, and
yes, sir.
They all contracted it, and there are 20-something, 30-something other football players, football team members, whatever, that have now are in contact tracing, whatever that protocol is, and they're going to have to sit out for 2 weeks. And I guess it started, once they tested positive, I guess it was on Wednesday. I guess they would have had to. But this is...
here's the thing. I think the NCAA's got to look at some of this stuff now. Yeah, okay, these guys are knuckleheads, all right?
Why?
And everybody was doing a really good job doing all the right stuff.
Is that the worst place to be, by the way, a freaking party bus, like, in its 90-something...
Well, listen, the best thing you could get on that party bus is COVID. Okay, that's the best. That is the best disease any of these guys walked away from. Now, I don't know if it's the only disease any of these guys walked away from, but that's the best disease that they were able to walk away from. All right.
Yes.
Because some of that shit's gonna stay with you for life. Whew. Okay, and some of it's gonna take a mean bit of antibiotics to get rid of. But this is yes, the knuckleheads. At some point in time, hasn't the CDC backed off of that 2-week thing? Are we working with outdated information? Can't they quarantine for a week, and then if they get 2 negative tests after the week, we're fine?
You would think so.
I have read very little about this in the grand scheme of how much most people consume, but I have read enough to think. I think the 14-day thing that was in March, man.
Well,
that was in April.
No.
And we got a better handle on this, and now I think if you quarantine for a week, and then you get 2 negative tests after the week, I think you're clear.
And they may allow that. They may allow that. But the protocol is still from the beginning of August.
They're not going to allow. I guarantee you they're not going to allow that because the protocol that we have in writing from the NCAA says 2 weeks.
When is and
this is why we can't make hard and fast rules about stuff we don't really know about.
Let's see.
This should be a 1-week problem. 1 week, everybody gets locked in a hole. And then when we let you out of the hole, we're going to test you. And then we're going to test you the next day. And if you got 2 negatives, bam, get your ass back on the field. We're gone.
So the next Memphis game is actually the following Friday. Yeah. And that is against UT San Antonio. That one does not matter all that much in the grand scheme of things. The Houston game does matter. That's a conference game.
It's not about which game matters and which doesn't, because you don't know which game's going to matter when this actually happens to teams. Okay? What's important is figuring out a protocol that actually goes with the most up-to-date information in science. We don't need overkill, because overkill is not going to make us extra safer. That's not how this thing is going to work. If you're cleared, then you're cleared, and we need to clear them more quickly so we can get back to the job at hand.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. Now, there are no names. Terry jumped in. He said, so they pulled the Giants and partied and gave up a damn game. And then he said, I wonder if this will hurt them in the draft, if any of them are draft worthy. Look, DeMonte Coxey is draft worthy. Other than that, there's not a ton on this team. And
unless we find that there is a medical problem that follows this long term for one of these guys, it ain't going. Their decision making ability, no team is going to care about that, because they understand that all of these kids are 18, 19, 20 years old, and they're all going to do dumb stuff. And it's the NFL's job to say, if you do dumb shit here, we're going to hit you in the pocketbooks, and then we're going to fire you. Yeah. So don't do dumb shit, and then they're going to leave it alone.
Yeah, you might be right about that. You might be right. I will say this: Kenneth Gainwell looking like a genius right now. I mean, we were worrying why he opted out so quickly, or not so quickly, but like so close to the beginning of the season. You have to wonder if maybe he didn't see some of this behavior from some of his teammates and decided, you know what,
not taking it seriously and say, I got to get out.
Yep.
I mean, this is a dude that didn't he say he lost 7 people to COVID? Lost them or had 7 people get caught?
It was he lost 4 family members, or
4 family members. That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, it wasn't just people that got it. He lost.
He lost people. People actually died. So that's that. Yes, that is somebody who, if I was him, that guy's taking it a million times more seriously than I'm ever going to take it.
Yeah.
Because I haven't paid a price for it yet.
Yeah.
That guy paid an insane price for it.
Oh, 100%. Terry said, what if it goes like the Cardinals and it ends up costing them 4 weeks? I don't think it's going to do that.
That ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen.
That ain't going to happen.
They're about to, the difference is those Cardinals guys are adults, and it continued to spread. First it was if it was these 4 guys, and then it turned into 8 guys, then it turned into 12 guys, and it continued to spread. Now, they're going to take these 60 dudes, they're going to lock their ass in a hole, okay, because they're in college, and coaches got their thumb just on top of their head.
Joseph Gomez said it's a guideline. The false positive takes a week, and the second test takes a week, thus the 2 weeks. Well, here's the thing.
No, the tests don't take weeks anymore.
Yeah, they don't take that long anymore. So that's where this comes from. So
that's my problem with the 2 weeks is that when that was written, yes, tests took weeks.
Yeah.
Now tests take days. 24 hours. I can drive to my hospital, get a thing shoved in my nose, and 24 hours later, I can click online and find my results.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think maybe the protocol has been changed. Maybe, who knows?
I don't think it has. I think the NCAA wrote a protocol out, and then I think the NCAA walked away and said, we did our job, and now they're furloughed. So they're not doing shit. They're not updating anything. They're not even at work.
Well, so the other part of this is I don't know that the AAC ever set a protocol for how many players you have to have, all that kind of stuff, right? The Big 12 set one.
They're going to have to follow whatever the rules the NCAA put out.
Right, but the NCAA did not set one for how many, like what the minimum number of players is that you would need. So the Big 12.
I think if the conference didn't, I think the individual teams are going to be able to make those decisions.
Yeah, I guess so. The Big 12 set one for their entire conference that was like, you got to have at least one quarterback. You got to have at least 7 or 6 offensive linemen or whatever. You got to have this many of each position, and you had to have at least a 53-man roster. So, and it was down to, basically the NFL stuff, right? Like you got to have this many guys. You got to have this many guys. So, so we'll see what ends up happening with that. But it does appear that the Memphis and Houston game for next Friday will be postponed, and we'll figure out where things go from there. This is the first big one in college football.
First conference game that we're going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, we
the
did
SMU TCU game was not a conference game.
No, but we had NC State and Virginia Tech that was postponed from this weekend all the way until September 26th. So
yeah, but that was done before the season started.
Yeah, that was done.
I don't count that because the season hadn't started yet. We're in the season now. Any changes now are because of COVID.
Yeah. Oh, and that one was, but it was because there was an outbreak so close to the season. So it was.
We hadn't started football yet.
Yeah, had not started actual games at that point. Let's talk about the NFL from last night. And you know what? What was the final? Was it 34-20 or 31-20? I don't remember. I think it was 34-20 because I think it hit the over, didn't it?
It did hit the over.
That's right. That's right.
With the last, well, not a last minute field goal, but a field goal at the very end of the game. 34-20.
There we go. 34-20. Did you see the ratings for this?
Nope.
So this is just the overnight ratings, right? Early number, the Chiefs win scored a 5.2 among adults, 18 to 49, 16.4 million viewers between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern time. The number will adjust, upward later to 11:30. Right now, as it stands, this is a 16.1% drop. That is not good. It is the lowest opening in 10 years. And I'll tell you this. I forget all the other talk about political stuff and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it had anything to do with that. I think it is people genuinely had no idea that football was about to start.
That's not true either.
You don't think so?
No, I can tell you why this is down. I can tell you why the NBA numbers are down. I can tell you why all the numbers for all sports are down across the world. Sports bars are closed. How many people over the last 10 years have been cutting the cord? And how are they watching their games?
I guess some
They're
are
going
to
to sports bars to watch the damn games. And now they can't. This is why the NBA numbers are down 40%. It has nothing to do with any of the politics, has nothing to do with any of the stuff. The product on the court has been great. The games have been amazing. It's 100%. people made financial decisions to get out of the cable business years ago. There's not good streaming options for any of these games. And if there are, you're bootleg streaming it, which is not going to help the ratings. And therefore, that is going to affect all of these numbers. It was easy to see this was going to happen. It was easy to see the NBA numbers were going to happen. Anybody who's arguing otherwise is just talking out their ass. They're not thinking about how many people lived in sports bars. I was a bartender for a long time at a sports bar. I'm telling you, I had, and this was 20 years ago. This was an entire lifetime ago, okay? And I had college guys that didn't have cable. And if it wasn't on network TV where they didn't have the rabbit ears and couldn't pick it up, they came to my bar to watch any game there was.
Okay.
If you don't think people aren't doing that now, you're crazy. And that affects numbers. That affects ratings.
You might be right. Joseph Gomez jumps in, by the way. He said, ratings don't give you internet numbers. Just look at how we're watching WCE. 100%
Yes.
right. 100% right.
Yes.
Terry said, well, it was the Chiefs and Texans. Everyone knew who was going to win the game. Tia3 jumps in on Twitch, said, hey. I think that might have had a little bit to do with it, but not enough to overwhelm. If you
100% overwhelmed. How many people have cut the cord over the last decade, Gary?
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what Terry said about the Chiefs and Texans thing. No.
I think that's nothing to do with it.
I think
you
got
Patrick Mahomes on national TV after winning the Super Bowl, one of the most likable Super Bowl winners we've ever had in history.
Yeah.
No. Everybody, the world wants to come out and watch this guy. I'm just telling you that's the truth. Anybody argues any other point, they're flat ass wrong.
How did you guys did y'all report numbers when you were at the bar? I mean, what was or
I don't know how that works. I don't know how. No, I didn't do any of that shit.
I'm just trying to figure out if the sports bars.
I don't know how ratings people know that bars are packed watching games. That doesn't make any sense to me how that science is done. I'm telling you that science is done and those people are accounted for.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Because for the last 10 years, all people have been doing is cutting the cord, but ratings haven't gone down a bit. And I've been going into bars. I've gone to Buffalo Wild Wings, and I've seen on a Saturday you can't get a table. You just can't get a table. Okay?
Yeah,
and
Saturdays
last night,
and Sundays.
I went to the local Buffalo Wild Wings with some of my friends that I hadn't seen in a long time, and we had no problems getting the table, and there was nobody in there.
That's a good point. Damien said this
all
goes to show
those numbers are down.
Damien said this goes to show that preseason games are very important, even though they're boring. I'll say this: the quality of football last night, I don't think was that bad. I thought the game was actually pretty good.
The quality was fine.
It was fine. The reason why I brought up the ratings thing is that I'm telling you, I know people that really did not realize that there was a game last night until they turned it on.
Well, those people were idiots. Those people were morons. But they don't follow football.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That there are so many people that just turn on a game that don't actually follow it. I think that's, a massive number of people. And they just had no idea.
I can't help you because those people are also not watching regular TV on a random basis to where they would see the commercials for it anyway. How are we supposed to tell them that it's coming on?
That's a good point.
Because they're not watching television. You're not getting the commercials advertising the game is coming on if you're streaming Netflix all damn day.
That's true. That's true.
So I don't know how to tell you the game's coming.
Joseph said, Chris, you got no love for Hooters wings?
No. God, no.
I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan. My wife used to work there, and I would go when she was.
Anybody who goes to Hooters for the food's a liar.
Yeah, I think you're right. Terry said, I would have watched a better game, like a good rival teams, but I like the Cubs-Reds better. Go Cubs, go. And then he asked where that hat is. Yeah, I still got the hat over here. No worries. No worries. Damien said last night's game was the worst. Well, I mean, look, the Chiefs ran out, 30 however many unanswered points. I mean, what are you going to get? I wanted to bring up the Chiefs looked unstoppable. Just ridiculously good. But I think
that's the worst defense they're going to play all year.
That's what I was going to say is Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 138 yards rushing. That's also because that was an awful rush defense. I mean,
that's the worst defense. Not just Clyde. That's the worst defense they're going to play all year. Yeah. J.J. Watt looked like shit. J.J. Watt was on camera a lot around the football after somebody else had made the tackle, and he was standing there.
Bill O'Brien does not deserve a quarterback like Deshaun Watson.
No, and I can't believe it broke my heart watching that game, broke my heart knowing Deshaun just signed that extension.
Oh, yeah.
If I was his agent, his agent didn't do him any favors. There's no way on earth I'd have signed that extension. No. I would have said, I need to see what this roster looks like next year before I take any money from you people.
100%.
But he's now married to that place.
Oh, yeah. He certainly is.
In lockstep and barrel with them.
Matt Miller said, Wingstop and B-Dubs are the best chain wings. Also, politics are going to make NFL ratings drop 2 to 3%. I mean, it might drop a little bit, but I don't think it's
2 to 3. It's not 16 though, and that 16 number is nobody is watching these things that cut the cord from years ago, and if they are, they're bootlegging it, and you can't. And bootlegging is going to kill your ratings.
Yeah, I mean, or not even.
There's sports media people out there shouting the room is burning because Trump wants football, and anybody who's against Trump ain't watching, or for Trump ain't watching, whatever. It's all somehow getting tied into politics, and they're just wrong. Yeah. They're just wrong. People who love football don't give a damn if you love Trump or you hate Trump. I want football.
Yeah, 100%. Like I don't care about the politics
they just cut
on this
the cord,
or whatever,
so they don't have a way to watch anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it goes. Was there anything else that stood out from last night? I mean, Clyde looked great. Obviously, we talked about the defense.
Clyde's the best running back in football. I said it before, and I'll say it again. He's going to be the best running back in football. Anybody who thinks I'm a homer, call me at the end of the year. Call me at the end of the year. This guy is unbelievable.
I ain't arguing.
And then everybody's going to throw the defense out. Oh, well, it's the system that it's in. It don't matter what damn system he's in. Dude, 6'4", 240 pounds, fast as sweetness, moves like Barry, power like Bo. You can't stop him. You can't stop him.
I got him in the second round in my in one of my fantasy leagues.
Then everybody in your fantasy leagues needs to be shot in the head for letting him make the second round.
Oh yeah, I mean I got him second round. Now I was picking early second round. But I mean,
doesn't matter. He shouldn't have been there.
You're probably right. You're probably right. I will say this: I got Lamar Jackson in the first round, so those two combined, I think, are going to win me a lot of games.
The fact that you took a quarterback in the first, it's such a rookie.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. Other than the fact that Lamar averaged so many points every week last week. Hey, but
that's not relevant. Do you know where everybody drafted him last week? So you don't even understand how fantasy works and the math works. The only reason he was so good was because you took really good players early and you grabbed him late, and he struck gold with this guy that finished good late. But the fact that he's going to finish good this year, you paid the price for that, so you get no extra added value. You paid for it when you drafted him.
You might be right. But we'll see.
I'm not right. Might be right. That's how math works. That's how math works.
That's
true.
You
paid full price for him. You paid overprice for him.
I feel okay with it. I feel okay with it because I got Clyde in the second round. I feel all right. I feel all right with my team. I'm good. And I won this league like 2 years ago, so I'm feeling all right with it. You know, whatever.
Okay.
Let's see. Joseph said,
well, yeah, if y'all are taking quarterbacks in the first round and y'all let Clyde go to the second round, everybody you're playing with is a moron. So sure.
There you go. I think that's a big part of this. Joseph said, is it a PPE league? Then maybe if so. Yeah, but it's all good. Let's dive off of that game and for this last little bit, because I got to leave literally in like 1 minute. Miami and UAB last night. I talked about this on our SBR show, which, by the way, go over to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. Make sure that you're subscribed to the Sportsbook Review YouTube page. We will be there at 10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow morning, going live, doing the closing line show and whatnot to discuss Saturday's action. Miami covers last night, 17-point spread. Or not, what was it? I think it closed at 16.
That's what it closed.
And they won by 17, 31-14 over UAB. Miami had 492 yards of offense. Now, 330-something of that was rushing the football. I went back just to look at some of the stats. UAB has only given up that much yardage 3 times in their entire history since coming back, in the last 3 years since they came back. In 2017, they gave up over 500 yards to North Texas, and that was the year that Mason Fine was throwing the football all over creation and whatnot. They were really good that year. And then last year, they gave up 499 yards or something to FAU. And that was Lane Kiffin's offense that was going bananas, and he ended up getting the Ole Miss job out of that. Other than that, this was the third time that they have given up this many yards. Other than that, that defense is unbelievable. As far as efficiency, as far as total yards, as far as everything, they would have been top 3, some stats maybe top 4 in the ACC last year. and Miami just went all over them. Miami's offense has not gained this many yards except for 5 times in the last 3 seasons. Twice against Bethune-Cookman, once against Toledo, once against Savannah State, and then last year against Virginia Tech, they had like 590 yards, and 440-something of it was passing. I mean, it was absurd what they did.
You talked about this earlier, though. The talent discrepancy between Miami and UAB is not measurable.
Oh, yeah. It's
Are they going to be able to do this when they play people that are close to talent than them? Because I don't think that's happening.
I'm curious because I had this on a different TV, so I was watching both games at the same time. This was a Gus Malzahn this was not a Sonny Dykes offense. Rhett Lashley was running a Gus Malzahn offense, and it looked
Gus runs the football until you can't stop it, and if you don't stop it, he'll just keep running it.
Oh, yeah. And
it's one of my favorite things about Gus that pisses people off. Then I don't know why they get so mad about it. If he can run off guard left, off guard right all day long, and he'll get 4 or 5 yards a clip off of it, he'll do it all day. He won't get creative with play calling. You can say it's boring. You can say it's not inventive. The discipline to continue to just hammer, hammer, and just drives defenses insane. And they all think now's the time he's going to hit us with the left. And he just never does. Just keep popping them with the jab and popping them with the jab and popping them with the jab. And they're looking for something else, and you're just wearing that face out. And you're right. This is the first time I've ever seen somebody do what Gus does. When you find something that works, literally don't stop doing it.
Yes. It looks like
Manny Diaz. You know what I found funny?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was watching it with guys. They didn't know Manny Diaz was still coaching. They watched the entire game. I don't know that the camera went on Manny Diaz more than once.
I think I saw him like maybe twice.
It sure as hell went to him 7 times every drive.
Yeah.
I don't know that this guy's going to be the golden boy or the chosen one to bring Miami offense back. Because at some point in time, you got to beat somebody who's got equal talent than you or better than you.
Agreed.
I don't know that this team can do that because last night they struggled for a long time to score. They put a lot of yards up, but they didn't put a lot of points up.
This is true.
Until the end of the game when the other defense was just exhausted, and that is a depth thing. That is the difference between G5 and P5. That there are a million things that go into why at the end of the game you're destroying a good team like UAB. You're not going to do that to Florida State. You're not going to do that to Clemson. You're not going to do that to Notre Dame. You're not going to do that to North Carolina. You're not going to do that to Virginia. You're not going to do that to Virginia Tech. Those teams are just as good as you.
Oh, yes.
So
agreed.
Are you going to be able to find another way to beat them?
I am excited, much more so than I was to begin with, about the Miami-Louisville game next week. I think that's going to end up looking a lot of fun.
I'm excited. I'm with you on that. That's a game I'm excited about.
Let's 100%. See. Joseph Gomez jumps in, by the way. Matt Miller said quarterbacks should not be taken until the 3rd round. Not enough differential from the 1st to the 7th round. Damian said the problem isn't politics or the real problem in sports that bring the low ratings, that these leaves are rigged with corrupted refs and league owners that favor teams like the Patriots. No, I don't think that's it. Let's see. Joseph Gomez said, I'm running a parlay for $5,000 with your Louisiana trifecta pending. the Louisiana 3-way. Terry said, haven't looked yet, but do y'all have the weekly picks this year where we pick against you guys? Not yet. That's coming. We wanted to see how this season is gonna go before we start running contests and whatnot, because games get canceled, fairly regularly now. So probably the 4th week when the SEC starts up, that's when we'll start doing
We'll start that one, everybody. Yeah. Hopefully we have a better understanding of how the season's going to go.
Yes. Matt Miller said, let's see, Miami will look good until they go get someone who forces De'Aaron King to throw 30 times. Yep. And then Matt Miller said, I got Watson in the 3rd round. Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
And listen, Satterfield is going to put up more points than UAB was able to.
Oh, 100%.
So you better find a way to score.
You've got that right.
Or run the football and keep Satterfield's offense on the sidelines. That's probably not a bad idea we're just going to hold the football and not let you have it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a smart move. So, but we got Louisville coming up against Western Kentucky tomorrow, and I am ready for it. Good gracious. Tomorrow, everybody make sure you are subscribed to the Sportsbook Review YouTube page. We will be there at 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going live. We're talking about the closing lines. We'll tell you our feelings on how these lines have moved, all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk college football for about 30 minutes or so. So hopefully everybody will join us over there. we are going to go ahead and get out of here. winningcureseverything.com is the website. Make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast. Get all of our picks, everything else. Remember, if you haven't watched already, if you haven't listened already, go grab Wednesday's podcast. We give all of our NFL picks for the week. We give all kinds of different stuff. So make sure you are tuned in there. With that said, anything breaking, Chris, that we need to discuss?
No, I think we're good, brother.
Oh, yeah. Terry said, don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends. You got that right.
Thank you,
tell
Terry.
your friends. We appreciate you guys. All right, everybody, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review, and make sure to comment and tweet at us.